Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what is the most disturbing fact about the human body? You develop cancerous cells every day, but your immune system deals with it. Edit, usually. Right up until it doesn't. 1 in 4 will develop one kind of cancer in their lifetime. Edit, I just checked again and you guys were right, it's 1 in 2 for men and 1 in 3 for women. Shit is scary. Well, just this week there was a woman, local, in her late 20s who died of a toothache. She had posted on FB about needing a dentist over the weekend and decided to wait till Sunday morning she was gone. The infection went to her brain. My wife's boss almost died from a pimple. Please explain. This is why dental should be part of healthcare, not a separate special thing that only some people have. Eye exams, too. The tiniest injury to your brain can change your entire life. Depending on the part of the brain that gets hurt, you can lose your special / general senses, control over your own body, the ability to produce and / or comprehend language, your memories, your personality, etc. Remember to wear a helmet, everyone. At the same time, there's parts of your brain you can lose and still be able to function completely normally. Shit is wild. You can survive getting shot in the head, but if you bark your head wrong, it's over. You don't even need to get hit in the head. PTSD has been shown to completely rewire your brain and essentially turn you into a different person prior to the trauma based on your new brain makeup. Stomach acid is very powerful. It would burn right through us if we didn't secrete mucus every few hours. Which is also why we salivate excessively shortly before vomiting. It's our body's self-defense mechanism to reduce the acid damaging the esophagus. No wonder I salivate so much before puking. I can always tell I'm about to hurl because my mouth is full of saliva. I have a nausea / vomiting disease that where I can't stop throwing up on my own. The longest was 19 hours straight vomiting, and after the first couple I forgot to wipe my face down and the bile let right through my skin. It only got worse from there, so I have to factor that part in when preparing to go to the hospital. Fluoride rinse after vomiting helps you keep your tooth enamel. I noticed this after my abdominal surgery. When I turned over in bed, my guts seemed to fall from one side to the other. Mentioned to my doc and she confirmed it was my bowels rearranging themselves. Apparently the doctor just throws your intestines back in their higgledy-piggledy because there isn't a correct way to pack them neatly. I thought it was because the intestines just know what the correct position to be in and slowly rearrange themselves. Intestines go wee. Edit, I woke up at 4 p.m. to 3 Kelvin updates and 2 awards. Thanks a lot, kind people. Scientists once took a swab of the inside of an American man's belly button to observe the bacteria that lived there. They found bacteria previously only known to exist in Japan. The man had never traveled outside of the US. So you never know what other country's bacteria you're carrying in your belly button. Probably came from a Japanese-made shirt. Or from Japanese-made saliva. If I remember correctly, an article discussing this experiment found that the bacterial combination in our belly buttons is almost as unique as our fingerprints. I'm cleaning this bitch out with rubbing alcohol from now on. 1/3 to 1/2 of all fertilized ovum do not result in a viable pregnancy. They are expelled as a heavy period instead. Most women don't even realize that they miscarried. Just experienced a chemical pregnancy a few weeks ago. At-home pregnancy tests and ovulation calendar apps are great, but you're hyper-aware of what's going on. Had 3 positive pregnancy tests and then 2 days later the heaviest period of my life. I upvoted only because I just experienced the same thing. Kinda wish I wasn't tracking so closely. Period cramps are essentially your womb suffocating itself. To get the uterine lining out of your womb during your period, your uterus has to contract. Sometimes, when the contractions are stronger, your womb squeezes its blood vessels so tight that oxygen can't reach them, which sends pain signals to your brain, ouch. But wait, there's more. This process increases your production of chemicals called prostaglandins, which encourage more contractions of the uterus. There really is no mercy. Oh, and that nonsense sets off the infamous period shits. It's like your body thinks it's funny to make it feel like you're being turned inside out. I will never forget the time I had severe food poisoning while on the worst day of my period. Puke coming out one end, liquid fire shits out the other, and each heave felt like I was going to pass out from the pain. It was legitimately the worst few hours of my life. Excessive prostaglandins is also why some people get really nauseated or experience the aptly named period poops right before / at the start of their period. The prescription acne medication Acute turns your bones green. I learned this working in a bone and tissue donor center where sometimes you'd get kids, or adults, who'd been on the stuff and their bones were either bright green or a darker forest green depending on how long ago / how many treatments they had. We wouldn't reject the donor or anything, the bones are still fine, they're just green. I have a lot of weird stories from this place. Edit, it could be my supply and not Acute. All the processing techs I worked with swore it was Acute though. Edit 2, some people are sharing stories of Acute and bright green wisdom teeth roots, so maybe it is both. People with tattoos often have black lymph nodes from the body trying to get rid of the ink. Till I have green bones and black lymph nodes. I did not know that. That is also incredibly fascinating and a tad disturbing. Fuck, I guess I'm a green boy now. Still gotta hand it to Acute since it cleared me right up and never had an issue afterwards. I always thought it was unrealistic how quickly people in movies, always the bad guys / cannon fodder, would keel over and die after being stabbed in the stomach. Then I found out just how fast you will lose consciousness and die if you happen to be stabbed deep enough to puncture your abdominal aorta. Basically it runs down the left side of your spine and, if ruptured, can result in unconsciousness within just a few seconds and death within minutes. My old boss died from an AAA, aortic aneurysm. His wife said he stood up from the table at the restaurant they were at, he stretched his arms and said his back hurt and collapsed. Supposedly he was dead by the time he hit the ground. What a terrifying thought. Eating with your wife, you both finish up and pay. You both get up, hubby stretches a little then says oof my back and then boom dead. Jesus. Can confirm. Literally the same thing happened to my cousin's husband. Said he had a headache when he woke up. 2 hours later he died at breakfast. To actually hit that requires a fuck of a lot of force and you're not going to be retrieving that knife easily. My grandfather was a commando in WW2. They were actually trained on how to kill someone quietly with a knife, not quickly. They were also taught to remain with the person they'd stabbed until they died, holding their mouth. Is it true that they train them to kill with a knife by punching a lung, so the cause of death is actually internally drowning in their own blood? There are a vast number of ways that your body can malfunction and kill you with little or no warning. An aneurysm can go undetected until it bursts and kills you. Getting hit in the chest just the right way can stop your heart. You can encounter an allergen that never previously provoked an immune response that freaks out your body so badly that you die. You literally just never know if your body will just die. They can come at any age too. My, then, 11-month-old son suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm 18 months ago. No symptoms leading up to it and the surgeons told us there was no way to see it coming. The exact words were unbelievably shitty luck. Without a very fortunate, specific chain of events, we'd have lost him. After 15 hours of brain surgery, 3 weeks in a coma / PICUR, bronchitis with reventilatio and finally COVID, we were home 6 weeks later. He started walking in March of this year and now following his latest assessment, he's not even behind developmentally. The human body is incredible. Edit, for all the people asking, he was 11 months when he suffered the aneurysm. He's now coming up to 2.5. I also wrote a much longer than intended backstory for anyone interested. As a mother of 2 very small kids, 5 and 1, I'm very happy to hear that yours recovered, as I can't imagine the devastation of burying your own child. Makes me terrified to know that anything can happen at any time to anyone at any age. It survives more trauma than people expect. People generally assume if you're hurt badly that you die quickly, but most often you do not. There's a vastness between good health and death. Most of it sucks. Good reason to find small things to be happy about when you can. Even when the ride is at a low point. Biology teaches us how much resilience is baked into the average human / animal. Chemistry and physics can teach you just how little that resilience means in the right conditions. We are both hilariously resilient and surprisingly fragile. I read a comment here once that said it's not uncommon for paramedics and doctors to tell families that someone died instantly after an accident, when in actuality there was an extremely unpleasant bit of time where they were mangled but not yet dead. Take it with a grain of salt, but I've always found the idea disturbing. People can hang on longer than you'd expect, but they often don't seem cognizant of much, if that helps. They seem to hang in that not quite unconscious but not dead state for a while. Regardless, I'm not going to tell someone's spouse or kid that their loved one spent 15 minutes gasping and twitching in a muddy ditch after being ejected from their car, before they died from severe head trauma. Source: worked in EMT for a year and a half. I completely burned out and still struggle with it 23 years later. The people who work in that field for a long time are amazing and my heart goes out to them. That shit is hard. I think that's a very good time to cover up an unpleasant truth with a kind lie.